Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Dole, aka the Big D of Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Back again with another Batman game review. This time, I'm going to be tackling some of the other games in Batman Returns. Now, I've already reviewed the Super Nintendo game, which I actually own. But now I'm going to be talking about the other games. I will be focusing on the NES, the Sega Genesis, and Master System versions. Now, the Genesis version, same game was released for the Sega CD, but with a few changes, and the Master System game got released on the Game Gear. So, I'm going to start with the Sega games first. Now, of course, Sega produced all these games, Acme, which was the developer of the Genesis port, while the Sega CD port was done by Malibu Interactive. Now, I have seen a few walkthroughs of the Genesis port. Well, it's not too bad. It's got some pretty decent music and all. Not quite as good as the Super Nintendo though, but still not too bad. It is more of a platformer, and you have to take on the various members of the Red Triangle Circus Gang, collect various items including batarangs and what have you, use your bat hook to escape from main pits and what have you, and leading you up to face off with Catwoman and Penguin, who you actually do defeat at the beginning. Well, kind of do take on at the beginning of the game before the title card's even revealed, when he uses the bats and the Ice Princess falls off the roof, and Batman gets blamed, and thus the game begins. So you go on through the various types of stages that are formed after some of the events of the movie. Now, as for the Sega CD version, which I'll go ahead and talk about, since it's the same game but with a little change in it. Sorry, I wasn't trying to stutter, everyone. I'm sorry. Just couldn't get the right word to come out. Let's see. Oh, yes. Now, the Sega CD version actually introduced some driving stages, where you have to file these little disc type things, just like the Batmobile stage in the Super Nintendo game. You have 4 of those to go through with the original stages from the actual Sega Genesis port. However, it had new music though, but unlike the Genesis version, its music kind of repeated in some stages. I haven't really watched an actual playthrough of that version, even with the driving stages. I've looked at some clips from the driving stages. 3 of those are Batmobile stages. The other one's kind of the sort of bat underwater thing. Not the bat boat. It's something else. But anyway, I think it looks pretty good from that. Now, actually, you can, unlike the Genesis game, you can give your player a certain number of lives, but in the Sega CD version, you can do that. You can change the game difficulty, and you can choose to play either the platform stages or the driving stages alone. Or you can play the game in its entirety, which makes it pretty cool. I'd say give either a shot. I think Sega CD looks more cooler, and I've heard it's, fairly at a decent price. So, which that's one thing I didn't mention about some of these games. Now, I know the Batman movie theme games, which I did mention in my review of those. I think most of those are at pretty reasonable prices. I think. But anyway. Now, as for the Master System version of the game, also for the Game Gear, I must say it's okay and all. I mean, it's a platformer too, same stuff you gotta do. However, the game was kind of like a Mega Man type game, which you had a choice. Well, maybe not just like Mega Man, but also kind of like Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, where you can choose an alternate path. Well, an easy path or a difficult path to help you progress, try and reach Catwoman, Penguin. Enough said. I have seen plays of both games. They are the same thing, but just with, I think, different tile screens actually. Hmm. And now, as for the Nintendo version, though released late in the ES life cycle, the game was from Konami, the same studio that did the Super Nintendo version. Now, Sunsoft, of course, produced the original Batman game and its follow-up, which I also forgot to mention the Batman games review I did, which was Return of the Joker on the ES and Game Boy, where it was released as Revenge of the Joker for Sega Genesis. But when it came time for Batman Returns to come out, Konami had garnered the license. This would be another game for Batman, but of course, this would be the second time Konami had ever gained, well, to release games for a Warner property. Of course, the other one was Tiny 2 Adventures. But anyway, now I've read Batman Returns. It's good in some parts, but it's very tough though in parts. The game is beat 'em up, except unlike its SNES port, it's more like a Double Dragon style game, where you do get limited batarangs, and the only way to get health is to get a certain number of points or find these little black boxes with a Batman logo, which is labeled box. You can get up to 2 of those. Now, here's one of my negatives with the game. If you lose your health completely without a box, your game's over instantly. However, there is a password system, and you can continue. The game has unlimited continues. But now here's another negative. If by any chance you lose on the boss battle, you have to go back to the beginning of the previous stage and do it all over, which that was a big gripe for me. Now, I actually had the fortune to encounter the Batman Returns ES game at Game Exchange a few times. I don't think I'm going to give it a try again, but it's at a pretty decent price. I found it for $15, so that's not a factual bad price for a late NES release. And while the soundtrack may not have a dark tone ear like the Super Nintendo port, I still say it's some of the songs are pretty cool. Now there is a Batmobile stage though, and the Bat water vehicle stage, but unfortunately that's kind of a useless stage. It's just so you can get all these Bat coins, to give you more points and possibly get more of your health back up, and all that jazz before you get to the final stage. Which, of course, would be actually, since it's the final confrontation with Penguin, but you have to go through a gauntlet of all the enemies you go through. And let me tell you, the enemies have different color schemes, like the Thing Clowns, the Fat Clowns, the Knife Throwers, everything. And I warn you, the bosses can be a bit of a challenge too. Most notably, the Organ Grinder, which you face in the 4th stage. I'd advise you to use extreme caution with that boss. And, well, then the last couple of bosses are a real challenge. The Penguin's duck vehicle, which that's a real challenge. You gotta watch out for this projectile, the eye fire now, it'll follow you. And believe me, that if you get hit by that, that's gonna hurt like you know what. I want to keep this review clean. But the Penguin's battle is easily more tough. You gotta be real quick, even with your bat hook. When it goes into the air, it's very hard to do that, which kind of is the reason why I only beat this game one time and never could beat it again. I like Konami, but I don't know if I'm ever wanting to play Batman Returns for NES again. Now, because I kind of do like the Batman SNES game more. But anyway, you can give it a try if you'd like, but I'd say stick with the SNES version. But anyway, that's going to do it for my reviews of the other Batman Returns games. Let me know what your favorite is. Do you like the Sega games or do you like the NES game? Let me know in the comment section. Like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Next time I'll be talking about the Batman Forever games, which is where I'll be ranting at big time. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.